Right, Mavis, how you all doing? I hope you've had a great day so far. Last weekend, Affleck's Palace, the band in which I sing, all travelled up to Glasgow up the M74 to play at TRNSMT Festival. We were booked to play at the River Stage, and for anyone who doesn't know, TRNSMT Festival is probably the biggest festival in Scotland. They attract acts to perform like Sam Fender, the 1975 AITCH, you name it, they've played it. And I would say that the River Stage is one of the periphery stages for bands on the up. And as a result, when we are booked for shows like that, I'm not speaking on behalf of any other artists, but I certainly feel like there is a chance that there won't be that many people there, simply because of conflicting stage times. You know, for example, if Kasabian were on the main stage at the same time we were playing, chances are most people are going to be heading over to watch Kasabian. So we rocked up, loaded onto stage, and there wasn't many people there before we started playing, but just before we went on stage the arena filled out, and I can safely say that it's one of the best shows I've ever played in my life. It was packed out front to back in our little enclave in the festival, and the atmosphere was just second to none. There was a real unity between band and crowd, so much so that I ended up getting on the barrier for the last song and just jumping into the crowd so I could proper have it, and soak up the atmosphere. It's a bit of like a lucid dream, to be honest, when you're playing shows like that. It's a surreal moment, and it feels like you're dreaming because it's going so well. So yeah, what a remarkable moment that was. After this show, we went backstage, did a few interviews, and while we were there, me and Dan bumped into a few people. H being one of them. He had his Maybach SUV car parked right outside in pristine white, and I'm a bit of a car aficionado. I love nice cars. For anyone that doesn't know what a Maybach is basically a Mercedes SUV that's been modified to become the most opulent version or variation of that Merc. So it's like the Rolls-Royce equivalent of a Mercedes, only with a Maybach badge on it. And we had a chat about the engine size and what it was like to own and driving around, and if he liked it, if he was going to keep it and stuff. And he's a really, really sound geezer. Surprisingly tall, actually. I'm 6 foot and he's bigger than I am. But yeah, he's obviously got his feet on the ground. Personality-wise, he's a very approachable and affable chap, so it was really nice talking to him. After that, me and Dan bumped into the drummer from Kasabian, Ian, after they'd just come off stage, and I asked him, I've always wanted to talk to him about when they recorded their hit Fire. You may notice that halfway through the track, it feels like when the chorus drops, it feels like there's a tempo change, and I always wondered, was the tempo change a consequence of two songs being put together and turned into a track, or was there a change literally in the tempo? Does it speed up? And Ian basically said it's simply due to the rhythm change. He's playing a certain rhythm, I think in 3/4 or something along those lines, and it suddenly switches, which gives the impression to the listener that the track speeds up and it feels like it builds energy and it's a big drop. But it doesn't. It's simply all done with rhythm. So kudos to Ian. It is a belter of a tune, and he was a really nice fella. Also bumped into Rob Harvey from The Music, who now plays guitar for Kasabian. We had a good chinwag about growing up in Leeds, and it was really, really nice. It felt completely inclusive. The thing is, when you're backstage at these festivals, a lot of artists are doing the sideways glancing thing, for a few reasons. one, normally because, you know, they have a chip on their shoulder, or two, because they feel a bit insecure and they feel they've got imposter syndrome. But it wasn't like that at all backstage at Transmit with these people. They were very nice and it felt like we were all on the same page. So Transmit was mega, and I'm not sure if that festival will be topped for us this year. We are playing a few more festival shows. We're playing at Splendour in Nottingham. We're playing at Bingley Music Festival on the main stage. And we are playing at Beautiful Days in Devon and Hardwick Festival, which is just outside of Stockton-on-Tees in the northeast. So if you have a ticket for those shows, make sure you find out what stage we're playing on at what time. And let's see if we can top the Transmit show. Can't imagine it will be topped, but yeah. It was interesting. On my way home, I chipped off early just as Sam Fender was playing. I needed to get back for some family bits. And unfortunately, I got stuck in traffic on the M74 because a lorry had caught fire and was literally burning in flames on the side of the motorway. So we're sat there for 3.5 hours. I'm sat there on my own. But 2 cars in front of me, there was a Mercedes estate that was absolutely filled to the rafters. You know, it was, the suspension was levelled out. And suddenly, the geezer opens the car door and a cat flies out of the car door when it shouldn't have done, I don't think. Then 2 geezers get out and start chasing this cat over the other side of the motorway. So it's run across 4 lanes on the opposite side, straight into a pitch black field in the middle of Scotland. And these 2 geezers are trying to kind of catch it. I was like, you got no chance, geezer. It's gone. You ain't getting that cat back. Whoever's cat that is, you better get on the phone and say, sorry, we lost your cat. But the cat circled round and found itself under the wheels of the articulated lorry next to us. So there were these 2 geezers who could only be described as kind of like Devo impersonators. You're, dickhead, me cat's run off. A bit like this. Trying to get this cat from underneath the articulated lorry. And I'm thinking to myself, is that even the same cat? How's the cat just circled back round? But it was. They caught it. They got it back in the car. It was a bit unusual and surreal, but yeah. So that was interesting. But anyway, label news. We just got the first mixes back for the first couple of Pastel tunes from their record. Oh my God. I can't wait for the world to hear these songs by Pastel. I feel like 2024 is going to be their year. We're also just about to start pressing the Vega Rally EP, his first EP. It'll be available on limited edition vinyl. We're only going to get 400 pressed. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for information on that release. And yeah, Ava Carlisle's new single, we'll be putting that in the diary shortly. That'll be out in the next few weeks, alongside the podcast which I've recorded with her. Anyway, just wanted to let you know what it was like backstage at Transmit and on stage at Transmit. It was a wonderful experience. Thank you to everyone in the crowd. AITCH Palace are on tour in October, so let's hope we can replicate some of that atmosphere on those shows. Anyway, until the next time, bon voyage.